Hello students, today we will be discussing the topic of light emitting diode, commonly known as an LED. So before I start with the topic of LED, let us first discuss briefly what exactly are optoelectronic devices. This topic was explained in the previous video, but I guess there's a long time you had your midsem 1. So just a brief revision before I start with the topic LED. See, it's a question which is generally asked as a short note of around 7 marks. So first of all, let me just tell you what is an optoelectronic device. Optoelectronics, the word optoelectronics means which has a relation with light and electricity. So optoelectronics deals with the study and application of electronic devices which interact with light. It can be detection of light, as is the case with photodiode, or it can be emission of light, the case of LED. A large number of optical devices consists of P-type and N-type semiconductors, just like a PN junction diode, that are known to be light sensitive, and in some cases they emit light. Now basically the optoelectronic devices we are going to study in our syllabus, they are of two categories. One type of optoelectronic devices, they are used to convert light into current. Photodiode is an example. There are other examples too, but I have only covered which are related to our syllabus. The second type of optoelectronic devices are the ones which convert current into light. That is the LED. LED is an example which we are going to study in today's video. Now, what exactly is luminescence? You all might be knowing the working principle of an LED is electroluminescence. So before electroluminescence, just a brief of what exactly is luminescence. The property of emission of light is known as luminescence. So basically you can say that the word luminescence means recombination process. How can light be emitted? Whenever there is a recombination process. So whenever I say that if there is an electron in conduction band that is having higher energy, so if this electron comes down to valence band, why will it come down to valence band? Because in the excited state, the electrons can stay for a very short duration. So they are definitely going to come down. So whenever these electrons come to the valence band, they had energy, and now this is a lower energy level. So where will this difference of energy go? Because energy cannot be destroyed. So actually this energy is transferred, is emitted in the form of a photon. And this is how we get light. So this basically is an example of recombination process. Now when excited electron recombines with hole in lower energy state, the difference of energy is released in the form of a photon. The efficiency of luminescence depends upon the degree of transformation of excitation energy into light, and it also depends on how many electrons are undergoing the transition process. Basically, there are many types of luminescence processes which I had already discussed in my previous video, but in today's video I will be discussing only about electroluminescence. So this is the working principle of LED. Now for writing the short note on LED, you have to discuss electroluminescence in brief. No need to draw the diagram, no need to write a full paragraph, just a definition and is sufficient. So what is electroluminescence? The process which enables the semiconductor to emit light in response to an electrical current or a strong electric field is known as electroluminescence. This word itself says electrical energy being converted into light, luminescence. This is what is shown in the diagram. The forward bias connection is shown here. Whenever there is interaction of electrons, so when electrons move towards the anode, whenever a recombination takes place, you can see H nu, that is a photon, is emitted. So this is just a brief about electroluminescence, a process which is commonly used in LEDs. So when voltage is applied to a PN junction diode causing a current to flow, the electrons flow from N-type material to P-type material. Electrons lose energy when recombining with holes accompanied by emission of light. I hope electroluminescence is clear. Now let us move on to what is an LED. You already know the full form. It is light emitting diode. This is the symbol of an LED. You have a normal PN junction diode with two arrows outward. So these two arrows indicate light is being emitted. Now this triangle indicates anode, that is the positive terminal, and this straight line indicates cathode, that is the negative terminal. So how do you define an LED? A light emitting diode is a semiconductor device that emits light when current flows through it. So electrons in the semiconductor recombine with holes, releasing energy in the form of photons, like we've already discussed in electroluminescence. Now this here, I have just shown the construction. I think in the practical session, I have shown you how an LED looks like. So this is just the basic construction of an LED, which has basically two layers. Now this smaller cross-sectional area is the anode. You can also relate it with the longer leg. And this larger cross-sectional area is the cathode, that is the N-type material. Why N-type is more? Because it has more number of electrons and this has a shorter leg. And this pink colored layer is known as the epoxy coating. The coating which can be either transparent or it can be of any color. So this basically is the construction of an LED, how an LED looks like. Now LEDs are basically PN junction diodes which are made from a very thin layer of heavily doped semiconductor material. What is the basic advantage of heavy doping? Like we've discussed in Zener diode, that heavy doping leads to very thin depletion layer. So it has a fairly heavily doped semiconductor material, and depending upon the semiconductor used and the amount of doping, when forward biased, the LED emits light of a specific wavelength. Now, this wavelength means the photons which are released, they have a wavelength, and depending upon the wavelength, you can see different colors like red, yellow, green, blue, etc. Materials used in the construction of LED. Basically, LED is a device which is made from or made using direct bandgap semiconductors only. This is the epoxy coating which I was talking about, right? Okay, so LED basically uses direct bandgap semiconductors in its construction. Some examples we've already discussed during the practical also. I've written again, like gallium arsenide. Now this actually is not used in the manufacturing of LED because gallium arsenide, though it is an example of a direct bandgap material, but it emits the light which has a wavelength less than 950 nanometers. And any wavelength 950 nanometers is not visible to human eyes. So if you add a bit, if phosphorus is added to gallium and arsenic, you get red light. Gallium phosphide will give you yellow light. Aluminium gallium phosphide will give green light, and indium gallium nitride will give blue light. Now, gallium nitride is the most important material for making blue color. Now let us discuss the working of an LED. So basically the working of an LED, I have divided it into two categories, zero bias condition and the forward bias condition. Now zero bias is a condition, you all might be knowing what an energy band diagram looks like. So here what I have shown is, in the zero bias condition as seen in the diagram, this is just the p-type and n-type material. Symbol of LED is shown here and holes and electrons are shown here. Now just look at this energy band diagram. So this portion is the p-type energy band and this portion is the n-type energy band. You are making a junction, so whenever there is a junction made, as per the golden rule, the Fermi levels line up. There is a depletion layer in between. Can you just see this layer? There are electrons present on the n side and there are holes present on the p side, but these these electrons are not able to recombine with these holes. Why they are not able to recombine with the holes? Because there is no external voltage applied and there is a depletion layer, or you can say a potential barrier in between. What does that barrier do? It will not allow these electrons to move to p side. So if these electrons are not moving to p side, they will not be able to recombine with holes. So as seen in the diagram, the Fermi levels line up and there is a built-in potential due to which electrons from n side are not able to cross the junction. There is a built-in potential and a depletion layer present if the LED is zero biased. Now let us see what exactly is the forward bias condition of an LED. So what you have done is the P side is connected to positive of the battery and the N side is connected to negative of battery. What will happen because of this connection? You are connecting negative terminal to N type material. So what is being done, that energy is being provided to these electrons, Now gaining this energy, because negative and negative will repel, so electrons will gain more energy and they will try to overcome the junction. They will try to overcome the potential barrier. And once the electrons cross the junction, they are going to recombine with the hole. Now let us just see here. You can see in the energy band diagram that the electrons are moving like this. Electrons are moving towards p-type conduction. But p-type conduction is at a higher level, so these electrons will come towards the valence of p side, because holes are always in the valence band. So these electrons are coming down. The difference of energy, difference of conduction band and valence band, is being emitted in the form of light. So this is basically the recombination process, which will only take place when the LED is forward biased. Now what happens to the Fermi level in this case? Like in the case of zero bias, the Fermi level here, you can just see the Fermi level is being shifted up, right? What does this Fermi level shifting indicate? This Fermi level shifting indicates Fermi level towards the conduction of n-type. It has shifted. This means that electrons are conducting, that electrons are moving towards p side and electrons are recombining, right? And that is the reason the Fermi level has moved up. So when an external voltage is applied to an LED, the width of depletion layer decreases on increasing the applied voltage. These electrons now have sufficient energy to overcome the potential barrier. These electrons, on crossing the barrier, recombine with holes and release the difference of energy in the form of photons. Each recombination of carriers emits some light. The energy of photons depends on the forbidden energy gap. The intensity of emitted light increases with the forward current. So if you increase the current, if you are giving a higher amount of external voltage, the intensity, because what will happen, more and more electrons will recombine, so more and more photons will be released. So you can say that intensity of light increases if forward current is increased. Now let us move on to the characteristics of LED. So like the earlier diodes we've discussed, the characteristics we'll be discussing. LED has an additional characteristic. Here we will be discussing forward current versus forward voltage. So voltage is shown in volts and current is shown in milliamperes. Just look at this graph. You can see that the current is negligible for a certain amount of voltage. But you can see that the current has exponentially, or you can say that current has suddenly increased. So this sudden increase in current corresponds to a voltage which is known as cut-in voltage. It is same as threshold voltage. You can call it cut-in voltage, you can call it forward voltage, you can call it the threshold voltage. So till this cut-in voltage, the current is zero, but the moment this voltage is achieved, you can say that current has exponentially increased. Now we'll also discuss a small graph wherein we have related the radiated power. What does radiated power mean? Radiated power means you are getting light, that is an additional form of energy. So that energy, the power which is emitted, is also related to current. You can see almost a linear graph. You do not have exactly linear, because exact linear graph will be an ideal condition that is practically not possible, but you can see that it is almost proportional to the forward current. So basically, while doing the practical also, you had observed that if the current is increasing, brightness is also increasing. That means the radiated power increases with the forward current. Now let us discuss what are the applications of LED. So applications, LED is used in bulbs, as a bulb in homes and industries. They're used in motorcycles, cars, they're used in mobile phones to display the message. They're also used in television screens, right? And also in traffic light signals, LEDs are used. You can write 3 to 4 applications that you remember. What are the advantages of using LED? They generally have a longer lifespan, around 60,000 hours. They have a significantly low power consumption. They consume more energy, and whatever energy they have consumed, 90% is converted into light. That is, they are more efficient as compared to the other sources of light. Reduced maintenance costs because of a longer lifespan, because of higher efficiency, because of lower energy consumption, they have a reduced maintenance cost and they are more safe. I hope the topic is clear. We'll be discussing the next topic, photodiode, in the next lecture. Thank you.